And welcome to another wonderful episode of The Angriest Man in Orlando. I'm your host, The Angriest Man in Orlando, firing up the computer system because we had a little glitch. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say that the show is going to end because of this. I know there was some news that came out of one group, Timcast IRL in real life, who had a simple fluke with some systems and decided, show's over, folks. It's going down. We're not going to do this anymore. It's all over. So, is it really, though? We're going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to give it another minute for people to jump on live so they can start watching. And as the rest of my system boots up here, because this happens to people. This happens to a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people who are in the vlog sphere. You don't always get it on one shot. You don't always catch it on the first take. Sometimes there's multiple takes. Sometimes systems don't work. Sometimes people don't do what they're supposed to do. So things are running smooth here. And we'll talk about some other stuff closing. We're going to get into politics with the election around the corner. Economics, what you can expect to see once this election goes through. And then we're going to talk some dismal Disney news and what's getting cut from the schedule. And we'll go from there. So hang tight. Let's let everybody jump on in and join up. And we'll go from there. Hope everyone's doing great tonight. I want to welcome everyone in Sacramento. 6 o'clock there. Get your dinner. Sit down. Throw my show on and just listen. We'll go from there. Want to say a happy end of the day because it's about 7 o'clock there. Provo, Utah, I believe is Mountain Time. And in the Central Time Zone, welcome to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I don't think I've said that. If not, Racine. Racine, Wisconsin's a nice place too. How y'all doing? It's about 8 o'clock, prime time. It's gonna be a fun show. And then let's go with Manassas, Virginia. It's 9 o'clock. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so we've got some notifications going out. You should be able to see those, be able to jump in. Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Show's title is It Over? And, well, is it? Okay. So, Timcast in real life announced that their show is going to be ending. So, it's great for other YouTubers so they can get more audience. Is it really going to happen? My money is this is a stunt. This is just him maybe needing a break, and they'll go from there. So, other YouTube news. Good Morning YouTube is ending. So, they're going to be rebranding themselves, which kind of was like a morning talk show, kind of slowly morphed into an auto show, reviews, explanations of stuff, and everything else. So that's coming off air. So anybody wants to do a morning show? I don't know. Closings. We've had some closings. Let's see. A lot of closings, actually. Walgreens, I believe, I said they're going to be closing stores now. CVS is closing stores now. And just coming in off the line is Denny's is going to be closing locations also. These are slow, underperforming locations. And they actually acquired First Watch, which is also a breakfast type restaurant. So it looks like they're kind of consolidating in certain areas. I think if you have both a First Watch and a Denny's near you, one of those two is going to be closing. So therefore, there will be some people losing jobs, which is not fun, especially with the holidays coming. And, you really hate to see this stuff, but it's understandable with people not going out as much, not trying to spend as much money on food, and they are simply trying to eat at home more and trying to do more like that type of stuff. So sorry to hear about those closings. Something that got saved a little was Spirit Airlines. They got their credit extended to December, so it doesn't push their bankruptcy off. It just kicks it down the road a little. But be able to fly Spirit Airlines at least till December, it looks like. So that's a good thing going from there. So, all right, now I'm going to take a minute to adjust some microphone settings. So please stick with me.
Just adjusting a setting.
All right, we're going to see if we can get that back up and running, and then we'll go from there. All right, so a lot of stuff closing down, a lot of stuff getting retooled, readjusted, changed in a lot of ways. So if you know anything else that might have been closed or adjusting that I didn't say anything, please drop it in the comments. But this is kind of the culmination of what's going to be happening throughout the year and is going to continue to keep on happening. So we will probably see more closures of stores. We have Big Lots is still closing. The one near me just put out their sign saying store closing, everything must go. So you'll see this stuff going on and on and on. It's a downtime right now. It's people readjusting to stuff. It's not having enough money. If you watched the show last week, we found that 3 out of 4 people are having a real hard time even just keeping up with the normal bills. So it's really a time to kind of stretch every dollar, try to consolidate, try to downgrade a little to keep yourself afloat. And if you're doing well right now, i.e., just paying your mortgage, you're paying for your apartment, your credit cards are all up to date, your car is paid up to date. If you're even at that level right now, you're doing really, really, really well. And be thankful, be positive about it. A lot of people are not at that level right now. So if you're not at that level, ask for help. Ask for help. There's a lot of things that can possibly be done depending on your credit score, depending on how late you are on some of this stuff, and where you can go from there and what you can do with stuff.
Okay. Okay, there we go. We're readjusted and retooling some stuff here on our own. Okay. Hear that. Okay. So, what does this mean? Well, we're 2 weeks away from the election right now. And honestly, you kind of get the feeling that it might be over. This thing might be over. And the reason I say that is because I'm getting word that Nevada and North Carolina, with early voting right now, are swinging Republican right now. And Michigan looks like it's going that way. Pennsylvania may go that way. Wisconsin, Minnesota may go Democrat. And another thing came up today was Kamala Harris is not out campaigning today. So you got to think that with 2 weeks left to this election, 2 weeks from tonight, shameless plug, we will be doing a show in 2 weeks, and it will be very election centered. And we'll be going through results, and we're going to try to stay on as late as we can to do this show. So that'll be in 2 weeks. But in 2 weeks, the election is on here in America. And you think you'd be out there campaigning right now, somewhere. Battleground state, maybe just a state you even have right now to say, hey, I'm out here. Hey, I'm trying to do stuff. And I'm still in it. I'm still trying for it. And she's not doing that. So there is a rally tonight in Detroit with Barack Obama and Eminem. Not sure if that's really going to hit with the young kids, but the older middle-aged crowd now may remember him. And I guess that's what they're shooting for now. So she's not out on the campaign trail. Interviews are few and far between. There's not many. And hard-hitting questions have not been answered yet. The policies are still the let's give $25,000 for new homeowners. Let's inject more money into the system. Child care benefits for people who want to have children, which there's a decline in people who actually want to have children because it costs so much anyway. I don't think tax credits are going to do much of anything to try to fix that. So you would say she'd be out there with maybe some new proposal, some new direction she might want to be going. Walz is pretty much hit the wall. I don't think anybody's even watching him or listening to him anymore. She's on her own right now. And either she needed a break or they just needed a break from her, or it's over and they know it's over. And so you just kind of sit back, you take the win or the loss, actually take the loss, and you start preparing for 2028. And a slogan actually came across the wires here called Progress 2028. Now it is being adamantly denied by anybody in the Democratic Party right now, but keep that in mind. Progress 2028 may be the new call for the next election. So I've said it. This was going to be a throw out the people that we really can't stand. Let them take the loss. They look bad for the next election. And it keeps any good contenders somewhat clean. Like you have Governor Shapiro in Pennsylvania. he still looks good. He still looks like a possible candidate. Newsom, or Newscum, as some people call him, if he cleans things up a little in California, and it doesn't have to be completely transformative, but even just a little bit, he could come back in it. Pritzker from Illinois, I don't think he has a chance. He's sort of the Chris Christie of the Democratic Party. And Whitmer, I don't think has a chance either. I think there's just too much. There's too much dug up on her about stuff. So you might have some new contenders, some new surprise people here coming up in 2028 on the Democratic side. Be interesting to see who. Might be someone really young. Donald Trump will be in his 80s at that time. He won't be running, but that's what they're going to be running against once again. They're going to be running against Trump, what he did, how he did things, how he handled things. And they're going to be looking at where can we show that we're different. Not that we're better, that we're different. That's all it's going to be. So it sounds and certainly looks like they may be throwing in the towel unless some big bombshell happens. Oh, wait a minute. There is a bombshell. So Friday, October 25th, Joe Rogan podcast will have President Donald Trump on the podcast. So hopefully they can get that filmed, flipped over pretty quickly. If they aren't filming it, maybe Thursday, and then they're going to release it Friday. That is going to be the powder keg that really blows things up. Believe me, my numbers are nothing compared to what that's going to do. So that will be an interesting podcast to watch. I just watched Trump on Mark the Undertaker Calloway's podcast, if you know wrestling at all. A very interesting dynamic where Trump mostly asked most of the questions, and it wasn't too much of an interview, which at this point, I think most people know where Trump is at. They kind of know where Harris is at. I don't think there's very many undecided people here. I mean, if you watched the footage of President Trump at McDonald's, and if you felt one way or the other about it, I think you're there. I think you're pretty much there. This was one of the longest presidential election cycles from when you basically know who the candidates were, even with the flip-flop of Biden to Harris. You kind of knew who was going to be in those shoes of the Democratic candidate. So I think a lot of people pretty much found out who they were going to vote for out of all this. So in 2 weeks, we finally get this done. We get to see what happens. I'll be live with results. So feel free to jump in, watch, comment, and just laugh along because it's going to be a crazy night. Either way, it's going to be craziness. So jump on, tune in, turn on, turn out, whatever it is they say back in the day. All right. So where do we go once this whole thing's over? Okay. Depending on who wins will certainly lead to what narrative gets put out there. Because there'll be the narrative that gets put out there. There'll be the reality that gets put out there. So you'll have the narrative versus reality. You're going to have both of them there, either candidate. So we'll take it where Harris wins. So if Harris wins, the reality is a lot of people are going to be scared. A lot of business people, a lot of diplomats, other countries. Things are going to be a little unstable, not terribly unstable. I don't think World War III is going to start right after that, but certainly things are going to be unstable. Now, the narrative will be everything's fine, everything's calm, peaceful transition of power may actually even happen before January. Is it 20th? I believe it's January 20th that is inauguration day. I don't think it's a certain day of the week. You may actually even see it happen before. You may see the enactment of is it the 25th Amendment, if I'm remembering correctly, where they may pass the baton from Biden to Harris very quickly, get Biden out of there, and Harris just starts running this thing, or whatever they call running. Whoever is running it behind the scenes, the team will still be there. The team will be in power, and the team will be running it. So that will be the narrative versus reality of what's going on. The other side is if Trump wins, the narrative is going to be pretty simple. Everything starts blowing up. Everything starts going. We find out unemployment numbers aren't correct. It's way higher. GDP is going to go down. All these tariffs are going to ruin everything. It's going to be a terrible time here in the US. Move out now. Get away from this situation. Trump will go down as one of the worst presidents ever. That will be the narrative. The reality is, as much as some of these economic conglomerates hate him, it probably will be a really great thing. I think it's going to be a little pain in the beginning. Certainly, the tariffs are going to have to shift companies to start producing stuff in America. But he has said, as long as you have the factory here in America and are producing stuff, not assembling, producing stuff here, you don't get tariffed. So companies are going to be able to kind of meander around the rules a little bit and do some stuff and be able to get their goods sold without tariffs. It's not a we're putting the cuffs on you. It's a hey, we're telling you what to do, and we're telling you how you can make things better. So things will it'll take probably the first year where you'll see things changing, you'll see things turning, and then after that, you'll see pretty good times. Does it mean the economy still doesn't take a hit? No, the economy is going to take a hit. Everything is leading down that road to somewhat of a recession. Now, if we can get inflation even lower and get even some deflation right now, that'll help with the prices. Things won't be as expensive. People will be able to save some money and then be able to pay down credit cards that are too high that they missed payments on, pay down your car if the car value is not there to trade in, so you can go trade it in for something else. Catch back up on house mortgage payments, be able to get yourself into maybe an apartment or something like that where I'm pretty sure people are, living with roommates, living with family, trying to save money. Hopefully you can get out of that situation, which I'm seeing, at least in the South, apartment prices are starting to come down a little. There's starting to be at least special discounts, 1 month, 2 months free on a lot of them. So it's coming. It's going to take some time, but it's coming. So that will be the narrative. Everything is bad. Everything's going to be bad. You got to wait till 28. Wait to 28. You survive to 25, but then you wait till 28. So those are the outcomes I see happening from this election. So if you haven't voted, early voting is starting in a lot of states. Feel free to go early vote. Show up at the polling places. They are open at certain times. Check with your local district to see what times they're open. And feel free to vote early. I mean, some people, you just can't make it on that Tuesday. I'm somebody who actually really does try to make it on the Tuesday, but I understand. We're living in a lot different world where a lot more stuff is happening. So vote, make your voice heard, make your vote count, and in some districts it'll really, really count. So where do we go from here? Okay. Dismal Disney news. We can kick into that. So, official word came out that the Blade movie has been put on a permanent hiatus. I say permanent hiatus. They're saying it simply has been taken off the schedule. It was a November date in 2025 when this movie was about to come out. The movie, as far as I know, has not even started filming yet. So it was going to be a bit of a stretch to get it all done in a year, editing, get it ready, and have it to premiere next November. The movie was actually announced in 2019, and it's been about 5 years since that announcement. It was at a Comic-Con. Forgetting which one right at the moment, but 2019, pre-COVID, pre-destruction of everything. And you think, okay, it's gonna be a great Blade movie. Okay. It's a guy who fights vampires, who is a vampire or half vampire. Pretty easy to write a script for that. We got a lot of CGI and computer technology to make a lot of gory effects. Seems like a pretty easy movie to write. Well, this was not the easiest of tasks. They went through 2 directors. I can't even count how many rewrites of scripts. They did have a lead actor, Mahershala Ali. He was in The Green Book and a couple other movies and has done very well. He was in, what was that movie on Netflix? Like the End of the World movie. He was in that one too. He played the owner of the house that they were renting to. Was it Jennifer Aniston? He plays the owner of the house in that movie. Great actor. Great actor. Would be good in this version of Blade, but doesn't need to do this. Really doesn't need to do this. So I think he's going to be okay. Wesley Snipes, who starred in the Blade trilogy, the first 3 movies that they did in the 90s. He came back this year in Deadpool and Wolverine. Sorry, spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry. Made a joke that he was the one and only Blade and would only be that Blade. And like I said, if they never make this movie, that joke stands through time until there's another movie or a redo or something. And word is Wesley Snipes may be coming back to play Blade again in a future installment of a Marvel movie. So, I mean, it's there. The joke's done. It's good. And I guess we move on. It does look like Marvel Disney or Disney Marvel, however you want to say it. It looks like they're cleaning things up. They're not going to be the female-centered, shaking your booty, girl power, girl boss Marvel that they've been for the last 4 years. They're going back to the traditional stories, the traditional characters. and it looks like they're going to do some type of arc over the next couple years that may actually be good, may actually be something decent that people want to go see at the movies. Took them long enough, but hey, we're seeing a little bit. Now, I'm not calling this the turnaround yet till we actually see some material from them, but it's a step in the right direction, which I applaud because, hey, you know, that's what I was asking for. Thank you for doing that. In other dismal Disney news, Epic Universe just dropped tickets this morning. Yeah. So it was a 3-day ticket, and you could get it for Epic and the other two parks, which are Islands of Adventure and Universal Orlando, where you could do each park for 1 day. There was another ticket where you could get Epic for 1 day and then get Islands of Adventure and Universal Orlando, and you could park hop between those two parks. Epic was only going to be for 1 day. That was the way they were setting it when they did this ticket. And then there was another ticket where you could choose between Universal Orlando, Islands of Adventure, or Volcano Bay, which is their water park. And it was a 3-day ticket, if I remember. Yeah, 3-day ticket. Now, prices started at about $378, depending on what time of the year you chose it. They gave you up to 5 days to use those 3 days in. So you didn't have to go day after day after day after day. You could break it up a little and do 2 days and then skip a day and do the last day on that one. So the most expensive was right in the middle of the summertime, July, August, around that time, and then around Christmas time was the most expensive, and that was around, it was like 500, I want to say 75 or so, five something in that range, and these are for 3-day tickets. The cheapest was actually the first and second week of September, so basically right after Labor Day, you could get in at a pretty cheap deal. The lowest ticket, which was just doing Epic and then the other two parks, 1 park each day, you could get for $378, starting on the Monday after Labor Day. So basically the next Monday. So as of right now, I haven't checked if they're still available. If they're still available, go ahead and, grab what you want. Single day tickets are not released yet. Those will be going on the 24th on Thursday to annual pass holders, and then opened up to general admission on the 25th on Friday. So if you just want to buy a ticket to just go to Epic, that's when those are going to be out. The Grand Helios Hotel, which is kind of set inside the park at the back of the park and will kind of be used as a definitely, it's an attraction of the park. It's a monument for the park because you'll be able to see it very well from anywhere in the park, and you'll be able to access the park from the hotel. Reservations for that hotel did open up today around, it was about 10 a.m. or so. Not sure what's available still. Do go to their website, Universal Orlando Resort, and check it out for yourself. So it's going. May is going to be here before you know it. All the vloggers, all the people that just video the crap out of this stuff will definitely be there. So, if you want, just stay off of YouTube and just go second week in June. If you can make it. If not, shoot for September. Florida and the Southeast usually go back to school around late August. I know the Northeast goes back to school, I believe, right after Labor Day. So there may be less crowds, maybe less crowds in September to go if you want to go then. It's probably still going to be 90 degrees. Don't kid yourself. It doesn't cool down here till about November now. So it'll still be hot, but at least it may not be as many people. If you really want to, simply wait till 26, I believe, because I think even the holidays are going to be crowded there. And if you really want nobody in the park with you, shoot for January, February of 2026. That'd be a good time to go and be able to see everything and do it at a leisurely pace. Granted, unless there's like a total collapse of the economic system, in which case, if you got the money, then you got it. So you can go pretty much whenever. But I think this will be a crazy year next year in Orlando in general. If you do want to come down, Disney might actually be a better deal if you don't want the crowds. I know it'll probably be more expensive, but I think if they realize how they're going to get a hit from Universal, I think they're going to start lowering stuff. And more Disney news, they did lower the prices at the cake store or cake shop at Disney's Boardwalk. Some of the prices were lowered by a few dollars. Some of them were lowered by a penny. They certainly got the message that, hey, stuff's way too expensive. Their other two stores in Indiana were not that expensive. So they lowered the prices down closer to what they were charging in Indiana. It doesn't make a whole lot because the prices are still pretty freaking expensive for this crap. But, you know, they're trying to at least appease some people. I don't know. I personally think, again, cut the prices almost in half. Ask Disney for a subsidy on the rent and at least get it off the ground, because I don't think anyone outside of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio has heard of this place, knows who this woman is, and can even say what's on the menu. So you want to get people into your shop who have no clue who you are. Those prices they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. $26 cake slice, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. So, Dismal Disney keeps going. Universal is coming. With each month, you're just going to see more people going for that and giving up the Disney vacation for now. And we'll see where things go. We're 2 weeks away from the election. I know some people are just like, let's just get it over with. Tired of this. What? How long do we have to wait? But it's almost done, people. It's almost done. And this show, we're rolling. We had the best month that ever. We'll say best month ever. So thank you to everyone who's been watching, who joins in, leaves a comment, watches after the live taping. You guys are doing phenomenal. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. So just let's keep growing. Let's keep doing this. I did do the cut of the deep track into how dating has become basically like a video game. If you want to watch that, that's on there. So anytime a show goes over an hour, I'll chop it up, and that way you can watch the cuts. That way you don't have to sit through a whole hour show to get 20 minutes out of it. So we're working on getting some guests on the show who are just as angry. And we're working out the details on that, on when they're going to be here, how they're going to be here, and we're going with that. And they're anxious to be here, but we're working on the details for that. So that'll be coming up. Anybody want to rant about anything? Let's see. Nothing for tonight. Okay. So yeah, we've got some good stuff coming. Stay tuned every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. I'm also on 2 Men in a Room. Fun show. We did a live call and a live assessment of somebody's financials. So that was really fun and exciting. May actually bring that on to this show and start doing that on here. So you guys can call in and I'll help you assess the situation. We'll go from there. So something to look forward on the horizon. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow, and I'll see you next week. And then in 2 weeks, will be the big election show where I'm gonna try to go till however long it takes. If it takes till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, I'm gonna stay live and I'm gonna keep going with it, and we'll go through results. And either we're popping bottles of champagne in here or we're throwing stuff against the wall. We'll see what happens. So stay tuned for that. Have a great week, everyone. And as always, stay angry.